Hello and welcome to Fineprint. I'm Perry Singh. First up on the show, well, coronavirus has dominated our discourse globally. It has killed over 56,000 people in the US alone. But it has also led to another global crisis, a surge in the cases of domestic abuse world over, especially in Latin America, in a region where 20 million women and girls suffer from some form of abuse every year. And it calls to hotlines and police centers has only soared. Now, the UN Women, in a report today, said that there was evidence of rising violence against women in Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, and a doubling in the number of femicides in Argentina during the lockdown. In Mexico, the number of cases or calls to helplines has soared, reporting domestic abuse and violence. Emergency calls to the National Refugee Network, a Mexican NGO, were reported to have increased by 60% since the beginning of the lockdown. According to a femicide map around the country, around 200 women have been murdered since the quarantine measures began. Activists in Mexico are now calling on authorities to implement policies to protect women.
No hay un mecanismo real que impida que las mujeres sigan siendo asesinadas en sus domicilios en este confinamiento.
In Argentina, the government helpline number has seen a 67% rise in the number of calls for help in April since the national lockdown began. 18 women have been killed by their partners in the first 20 days of this quarantine. Moving on to Sao Paulo now, the epicenter of Brazil's COVID-19 outbreak, reports of domestic violence have risen by 45%. In Colombia, daily domestic violence calls to the National Women's Hotline were up nearly 130% during the first 18 days of the country's quarantine. And in Chile, complaints of domestic violence are up to a record 500% in an upper-class neighborhood in the capital of Santiago. But it's not just Latin America. The United Nations predicts that at least 15 million more cases of domestic violence around the world. So as women remain trapped with their abusers at home, governments around the world are dealing with a new crisis they had never imagined before.